you with the trades.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of course. So James is with Neolith, and we are drinking an Earl Grey Ceylon blend. Um, James, you don't really drink tea, do you?
I mean, very rare, but I'm a coffee drinker.
Are you? So what do
But
you think of this tea
I'll do
right
it
now?
for downtown decorators.
Oh, anything for me. All right, so wanted to chat with you, had a few questions. You tell us about your current role. Who are you? What are you doing right now? What's going
So,
on?
just recently, been appointed the Vice President of North America for Neolith.
Nice, congratulations.
Thank you. Started April 1st with the company, so it's been busier than I expected under the conditions that we're dealing with. But I'm grateful actually, because otherwise I'm not quite sure what we'd all be doing with ourselves. But it's been great. They're making a huge investment in North America, so it's been pretty time consuming with the planning and strategic development. So it's been exciting though.
Cool. That's awesome. I love that. All right. So you have quite a storied history in porcelain, and you were kind of like my first introduction into the large format porcelain world. So I sent you over a couple of questions. We're just going to run through them, but I want to start with your fabricator days because I feel like that gives you a ton of, you know, a ton of really good insight into the industry right now and just kind of where the industry is going. So tell me about when you were fabricating, when you were in the field.
Well, that was a lot less grays ago and much younger days, but it was I started out as a tile installer, believe it or not. And
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, I started as a tile installer, working as an apprentice with actually my brother was dating some girl and her dad needed help.
Dating some
And
girl. That's how it all starts.
that's how it all started. So I immediately jumped on and needed a job through the summer and fell in love with it and started doing more and more with him. And while going to school and working on the summer, I actually just fell in love with the trade, started getting more involved with the custom work because that's mostly what he did.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, he was probably one of the best known tile setters up in North Jersey. So he did the old school wet lays and mud jobs. And then
Is
from
that
there,
old school though? Because I feel like I still see mud jobs. Is that
if
still
you
old
see a
school?
mud job, then you should be grateful because I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many guys are doing that today. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
there's still some guys doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, to us, it was the best way. I mean, even before lasers were around, we were doing leveling our floors with water lines, which is really old school. But that's pretty much how we started. My brother got into it as well. Michael started working for the same guy. And it just kind of evolved from there. We got more and more involved with custom tile, more mosaic, things like that, inlays, crown moldings, in showers with ceramic.
Crown moldings
And
with tile.
yeah, they were literally crown moldings with tile. Very, very
Wow,
traditional looking,
that's awesome.
very eccentric looking showers. This was way back. So it's like early 90s. But from there, I really took a liking to it. It was relaxing. It was definitely rough on the body, but I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I pretty much decided that let's start a business. And I think I was actually working for Volvo, actually for a little while in a parts department, and
Cool.
decided
Okay.
that's not where I wanted to go. So we started a business and $6,000, a beat up pickup truck that our parents helped us out with, and we were off to start AMJ Marble.
Nice.
And then it evolved into fabrication. We started out with templating, countertops, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then quickly we just, we started building a name for ourselves in the area, started meeting more and more designers. And, not many people wanted to do this, all that customized work with mosaic. It was very difficult. We
Right.
connected with a builder. And then once we connected with this one builder, Amendola Homes, who I believe is still around in Bergen County, that really propelled us from there. We met Artistic Tile through that. We started really, really doing a lot more tile work. I mean, homes that we were doing $2 million worth of tile work.
Whoa. That's a
So
lot
it
of tile.
was exciting. Yeah, it was. It was a lot of tile. But, from there, we started working with countertop templating installations for a few different shops in the area. One of the shops that we were working for, I ended up taking over, and that became our our fabrication facility in Fairfield, New Jersey.
Cool. That's awesome. So you guys were working, you were doing tile, but you were also working with quartz and marble, and you were doing
We were.
countertops and all that
So
stuff.
we still had the tile division going. We were probably doing somewhere around $4 or $5 million a year in tile work.
Wow.
But then our fabrication really started to take over. And, you know, before we were doing quartz, we were all natural stone. So we worked mostly with designers out of the city. Some of them I still see, even some of the showrooms that you know that are around today. I think we were talking the other day about Cucci Cucine. I worked with Amir for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And then quartz was introduced somewhere around to us, I want to say 2000. Silestone USA at the time it was called, came to us, and we had a pretty good grasp on the kitchen and bath market for us. And we were running our business a little bit differently and more professionally and organized. So they were interested in working with us. We took it on. In the beginning, I think we kind of laughed at it, which is very similar to what's is happening today in the sintered and porcelain category. But
Yeah.
people were not very interested in it. And it was back then it was very boring looking. It was like 6 colors. And but a year later, I think we ended up a year later after purchasing maybe $200,000 worth of goods. I think a year later we were up to 1.2 in goods.
Wow.
So it took off rather quickly, and as you see today, Costantino is what they are, and they really took control of the industry. And we were happy to be along on that ride. We learned a lot for sure. And then eventually we took on Caesar Stone, and so we were in the reality in the beginning we were just natural stone. We were importing our own exotic materials and marbles and things like that.
DaCosta Development Construction said he set a standard and everybody knew what it was.
He's talking about me. That was somebody who used to work for me. That's my cousin, actually, who's got some war stories for you. Don't let him get on.
Too late. All right, cool. So those are your fabrication days. Share with me a little bit about your journey to porcelain, because as you said, people were kind of, no one was doing porcelain countertops at the time. So tell me about how you got into the large format porcelain game.
So I think, the first introduction that I seen in the sintered category was the Decton brand. And then through that, I ended up recognizing, obviously, the mistake I made in the beginning when quartz came out as a fabricator, young man who was doing very well in a business that he started from scratch. I thought I had all the answers. And then I realized how quickly quartz was taking over my business and the product that I didn't want. So looking forward, you look at how things evolve and how they change. And, for me, it was a time to take the next step and grow in my career.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very good career in my fabrication days and a very good career at Costantino. And I felt it was the next step for me to get involved with a product that was, completely new and that most likely no one would embrace in the beginning. So I wanted to be on the forefront of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was how I made the shift over, moving into a porcelain company.
Cool.
And so it was a little complicated in the beginning because it was still very, very new.
Mm-hmm.
Neolith was already out almost 9 years. I mean, this is our 10th year, or last year was our 10th year. So it's you see how far ahead they were with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was time to make a switch and look for something new.
Cool. So that's how I met you, through your previous employer, Sapien Stone. I was super unfamiliar with large format porcelain and really didn't even understand how you could make it into a countertop. And actually Faithful Countertops just joined. So Eric and the team, hello. They did my countertops. And it's amazing. I mean, I think in terms of durability, I'm a super messy cook when I do cook. Mm-hmm. Tony laughing. He's in the background. Anyone can see. So for me, it's awesome because I can wipe everything down pretty easily. I don't have to worry about stains. Porcelain obviously comes with its, everybody has its good and its bad. For me, I think it's really cool just to be able to have a marble look, but not have the maintenance of the stone. But what would you say are like the benefits mostly of porcelain versus natural stone?
I mean, it's definitely because of the thickness of it and the weight of it. it's definitely more versatile.
Mhm.
And that's coming from, and the, and the lighter weight, of course, and that's coming from somebody. If my brother was on this call, he would laugh, and I'm sure DaCosta Development would laugh if they're on this call. But we remember installing.
He's laughing. He said,
I'm
ha
sure.
ha ha.
We remember installing, 1.25 inch, 3/4 inch slab walls and ceilings. I mean, if you saw the contraptions we would make to put a shower ceiling in New York City, in a 14-foot high ceiling, it was comical. We think back today, my brother and I laugh at it all the time. You look back at what we were doing then, and I think it was borderline psychotic, having that material hanging over your head with no equipment or
Yeah.
minimal equipment, 2x4s. But easy. It's definitely easier to install with regards to the application. And I know that there's a huge gap between a lot of tile installers, fabricators, and some guys love it. A lot of guys, just not comfortable with it yet. I don't
Mhm.
want to say they hate it. Maybe there are some that are not pleased with it, but I think for me, the less maintenance that you have to deal with, the less sealing you have to deal with, these are things that you have to look at. And I think the biggest thing when you're comparing the two is the depletion of mountains, the earth. So you got to look at that. The
Yeah.
sustainability of the product is definitely something that should not be overlooked.
Yeah. I think what's amazing is that I don't know if it was you guys or somebody else had actually posted a picture of the quarries um, then and now, and just a really sad look as to how the stone industry has, this is essentially I guess, is it considered a fossil fuel? Marble, and not a fossil fuel, but just a natural material that is never really can never be remade.
It can be
It's
remade. I mean, you're talking
been
years
millions
and
of years of,
of yeah,
yeah,
the metamorphic process. How we're gonna recreate those beautiful mountains is definitely not something that's gonna happen.
no,
Maybe not
not
in
in
my
our
lifetime.
lifetime.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't
Exactly.
remember where that picture was. But I do remember seeing a picture of somebody. Somebody was standing in front of a quarry at a young age, and then it was, I guess, centuries later, and that quarry was, for the most part, the mountain was just annihilated.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. And I don't think I thought about it from that perspective until I saw that.
Yeah,
And I don't think that people think about, construction is a pretty messy industry when it comes to the environment. And I don't think we think about that until you see a picture like that. So
for sure.
that's one of the reasons why I love working with porcelain.
Yeah.
What's the
Price
most
point too. Price point
Yeah.
too. That's the other thing. If you
Oh, for
look at your
sure.
expensive marbles, the
Hmm.
calicatas and statuarios, what you're paying for those for a good quality natural stone,
Hmm.
you're not going to pay that type of price for these materials.
No. But I would also say, there's obviously the allure of natural stone, but you guys, Neolith and some of the other companies have done a good job of really mimicking the look and feel of an actual piece of stone. But that's
Absolutely.
important too. The
Absolutely.
graininess of the image and things like that. I think that probably turned a lot of people off when we were first working with porcelain, or when the first iterations came out, right?
Yeah, in the beginning, I remember years ago, just with tile, when they were trying to replicate, marble looks on tiles that were 12 by 12 and things like
Mhm.
that were cheaper versus marble, even for installations. And you could see how pixelated they were. It was, not something great.
Yeah.
Technology has definitely gotten a lot better. I would argue the fact that not every company is close to some of the top brands, and that even goes for the quartz industry. You look at the leaders in quartz; they're using better raw materials. Their
Hmm.
equipment is very well maintained. So it's a little bit different, when you're comparing all these different brands. But they've definitely, the top leading brands have gotten really, really good at it.
Yeah, for sure. What's the most popular application of a large format porcelain?
So for us, it would be the Chase Center in San Francisco, where the Golden State Warriors play. We did some. We have Neolith on a lot of the facade there.
Okay.
And there's also, I wouldn't compare this to the Chase Center, but through my few months here, I realized that we actually did the facade on that building in Fort Lee. I don't remember the street it's on, but there's one of those new style movie theaters there. right outside the bridge. If you're going east.
Is that all? So it's all exterior cladding,
Right. If
basically.
you look at the front, there's a lot of neolith on the
Interesting.
exterior of it, which looks like, I think they have a Statue Audio on it or something like that.
So is that the reason, would you say that's the reason why large format porcelain was manufactured originally, so they could use it outside? Because I know, I mean, I've used it on countertops mostly, and I know, Modern Room Remodels was on here, and oh, Tim said Hudson Lights Plaza was the
That's the one,
space.
Hudson Lights. Thank you, Tim.
So was it created originally to cover a large surface area like an exterior facade, or was it just starting to be utilized in that way because they could make it in larger formats?
So I mean, I don't know the exact answer to that, but I think what I would say is that, in the beginning these things were being made as tiles to save money, obviously, and get the most realistic look you can get.
Mm-hmm.
I think over time that's kind of evolved. And, once manufacturing equipment got more advanced, it evolved quite a bit. And I guess, through that evolution, seeing that we can make things larger and larger and larger and still mimic the natural stone look
Mm-hmm.
and get better. If you look at shower walls, for instance, I mean, it's unbelievable how you can take a full piece of a porcelain or sintered material and put it on a wall in a shower and eliminate grout lines. I mean, for
Yes.
me, that's probably one of the most popular reasons, if anything, is to be able to install walls and not have grout lines, and save yourself some time on installation.
Right.
But facade, for sure, is you're going to see more and more of that. We have quite a bit of projects going on right now across the globe. We're working on a new project right now, which is going to be facade, and it's a multi-unit building, apartment building, and it's in Idaho. So that's going to be coming out. But you're going to start seeing a lot more case studies for Neolith. The marketing team's doing a great job with that. If you ever need some of those clippings, I could send them to you. But there's some
Send them
really
over.
interesting projects that are
We'll
going
share them.
on.
I do
But
feel like
Chase Center is my most important one that I know of.
nice. Yeah, I do feel like a lot of people, maybe just residential homeowners, are totally unfamiliar with the use of large format porcelain for countertops, and I think they're intimidated by using large formats for bathrooms, because I know every time I've ever suggested it to a client, you sometimes will have a contractor who says, "Oh, that's a lot more difficult. I'm not sure how we would even deal with something like that. We've never done that before." So it's still, as much as a lot of people are using it, it's still kind of new in some.
No, it definitely is. And, it's really about finding the right installer. And I honestly and truly believe, coming from a fabrication background and tile, I honestly and truly believe that there's a lot more guys out there that are capable of doing this. It's just a matter of time, the specifiers like yourself, you guys run the show. And,
Yeah, we
you
do.
know, you're the one working with the homeowner, you're working on the projects. And at the end of the day, I mean, there's going to be people that will make the same mistake that I made in the beginning when quartz came out, and I decided at first I wasn't using it. And
Hmm.
then when I started seeing my designers in kitchen and bath asking for it more and more, that's when the game really changed. That's when I had to decide, okay, we either get on board with this, or we're going to really screw up and we're going to miss the boat and not be able to deal with this product later on. So
Yeah.
it worked out. And I wouldn't miss out on it today if I was a fabricator or an installer.
Well, you're with Neolith now, and this podcast was obviously with you, but you're with Neolith, and I wanted you to be able to kind of talk about that product. Why you like it, like why Neolith, what do they have going on? Tell us a little bit about Neolith.
So as far as Neolith, and I came from a few really great companies, um, and I've been fortunate to be able to take that path. So, but as far as Neolith, I know what I really liked was that they were really focused this coming year on getting really back to where they belonged in the beginning. They were my biggest competitor.
Mhm.
And quite honestly, when I look at where I am today, I definitely didn't expect to end up with my number one competitor. But we found a way to meet up, and things worked out. As far as why I ended up coming here and what I think the advantages of, the one thing I do love about this product and the company is that it's one brand. They have greater depth and variety. They have the 3 millimeter to 6 millimeter. We have the
Can
12.
we stop for a second? So
Sure.
the 3, the 6, and the 12,
Yeah.
what are the applications of those? Why do you make them in different
So the three
thicknesses?
millimeter is really good for skins. You could do cabinet doors, side cabinets, much easier to work with. And 6 millimeter is great for walls, great for floors. And, quite honestly, if you ask me as a countertop fabricator, because that's really what we were later on in our development, but I was a tile installer, I would rather install a 20 millimeter than a 6 millimeter, okay,
Hmm.
in a shower or on a floor. However, there's tile installers that are very, very well versed in thinner materials, and they may tell you the opposite. So, to me, there is no right or wrong. It's really about, I think, what you're comfortable with. And I think remember, I come from fabrication where I just told you we were dealing with thicker materials back in the day for shower walls. So too thin for me may not be something that works for me. But what's nice about with our product is that we have all those thicknesses, and we have a 20 millimeter, and we have tile. So everything goes together nicely. We have tiles that match our slabs, and vice versa. So you don't have to worry about, number one, maybe going to a different brand to try and match. You come to us, it's one-stop shop. And not many companies offer all of those thicknesses as we do for walls, floors, and for countertops and facade especially.
Yeah, and that's really nice too when you're going for that very modern look and you want everything to kind of be one stone, something super sleek and not a ton of grout lines, and you're not
Yeah.
doing a lot of transitions everywhere, to be able to just work on one stone, and it's going to be the same every single time, because that
Yeah.
is like the bane of my existence when we order tile or this and that, and the colorways are wrong, or the size, there's like a couple tiles that are not the right size, or we had to go to a different manufacturer, and the whites are always different.
Well,
That's always the problem.
what's nice for us, we have there's two different things that really are a huge advantage for us as well, which I really fell in love with, is that we have an actual facade division and a cut to size program as
Mm-hmm.
well. So that's really nice. It's very, very advantageous for us when we're working with, look at what we just did before I moved over here. We're talking residential, and then you end up with a commercial project.
Right.
So for us, to be able to capture that in under one roof is really, I think, a big game changer for us. We have two techs that are assigned to the facade division. We have three different types of facade applications. And then again, if you're doing a large project where you need cut to size, whether it's countertop, a specific tile, we have the ability to do that for you as well.
That's awesome. I love it. Um, Can you tell us, last question, what are maybe some of the applications where you maybe wouldn't consider porcelain, or do you feel like it's really, a very flexible, appropriate material for pretty much any
I,
application?
I really think it's pretty good for anything. I mean,
I
you
would
could
agree.
use it outdoors. You could use it in your shower, outdoor living spaces. You're starting to see more and more applications, outdoors, especially in Florida, LA. We have something going on in LA right now. So it's, the fact that it's UV stable and it has, incredible properties to protect it from the elements.
Mhm.
It's definitely something that I don't really see a weakness in the product category. I mean, if you have a really good a really good brand, I don't see any challenges with outdoor applications.
Cool. Yeah, and I love the outdoor applications. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially when you want that marble look, but you're just not going to be maintaining it like you should.
Well, that's
It's
the other
just a
thing.
no-brainer.
You look at natural stones, and you put them outside, they take a beating from the elements, and it's
Hmm.
definitely something that just has changed over the
Hmm.
years. And I think
Yeah.
the quality of natural stones have changed a little bit too. So it's that I guess that naturally happens with the depletion of the quarries.
Yeah. Oh, I never thought about that. Maybe you're getting like the crappy part of the quarry as you get further down.
I guess I always compared it to diamonds. You know, I learned a lot when I was about to get engaged about stones.
That's very fair. All right, so I don't think we had like too many questions. Anything else that we didn't cover that maybe you wanted to chat about when it came to Neolith?
I think over the course of the next year, I think you're going to start, and not later in the year. It's going to happen pretty quickly. I think you're going to see the investments that we're making to help our distributors capture back even more business than they've captured already. We have a really incredible distribution network
Mm-hmm.
in the U.S. and Canada. So the investments that we're making here in North America, whether it's product development, which you'll see later in the year. I think we have some exciting new things coming up. A lot of the case studies, people on the ground trying to build the brand and really regain the market share that we probably lost, I'd say, in the last 2 years. So let's just keep an eye out for us, and you'll get to see really what's happening. We're making a lot of big moves, and we want to get our distributors back to where they belong as well.
Nice. I have one question from Tim. Tim, thanks for asking a question.
He would ask a question. Tell Tim I watched his first. I watched the first Tea with the Trades with Mr. Timothy.
Oh, Tim was our first and maybe our best. No, I'm kidding. You've been great, James. So he said how to best work with it for kitchen veneers, and then we have another question from Modern Room Remodels.
How to best work with it for kitchen veneers. So we're talking over the doors. So there's a number of different things, I guess, that you can look at. Number one, the 3mm is probably ideal because of the weight of it. You don't have to worry about building up hinges and things like that. It depends on the substrate that's there. Depending on that substrate, that's going to end up dictating what adhesive you're going to use. If you're going to a thicker material, now you're talking changing hinges, heavier hinges, and that's something I believe you want to avoid. So as far as that's concerned, yeah, I would definitely find someone, first of all, that's going to be able to do it. We have great fabricators in our network that I can recommend if you have something like that. Not all of them will be interested in doing it. But
would you recommend asking the distributor or at least your rep to recommend fabricators when it comes to those types of installations?
Sure, you could ask the distributors. You go to our website, neolith.com. We'll have our distribution network on there. If it's usually what ends up happening is if it's designers that I have relationships with, they usually will reach out to me, and then I'll guide them in the right direction. But you can you could start with the distributor if you'd like, and then I would think the distributors are mostly, used to dealing with countertops. And I haven't really made face-to-face with all of my distributors yet. Obviously, it's all been through Zoom or video chat.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still getting to know all their businesses. But I would say start with the distributor or a local rep, or just reach out to me. I mean, I could be contacted anytime as well.
Cool. And then last question from Modern Room Remodels. Any training, and does Neolith support the NTCA and CTI?
I believe we do, and we're still getting a handle on a lot of the associations. Actually, just reached out today to the National Builders Association. We just joined the Rockhead Group, which I'm a long time involvement with, which is some of the largest and best fabricators across the U.S. But as far as training is concerned, at this point, you could reach out to me. I don't remember where they're located. Are they in Jersey? I see them all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure I can answer this question.
Remember. But if you could post up my contact, or somebody can DM me on my Instagram, and I'd be more than happy to set them up with training. So we'll have trainers come out, and they'll do, whether it's tile, 6mm, paneling, or countertop fabrication. We provide all that training.
Cool. That's awesome. I didn't know that. Okay, where can we find you besides Instagram? So obviously Neolith has an Instagram.
Yes, Neolith North America. We have a couple of Instagrams, but Neolith North America is the main page for the US. Then there's Neolith USA, which is our Atlanta distribution center. And then, of course, you have the Neolith Global Instagram, or you can reach me at Amendola@neolith.com.
Cool. Thank you, James. This was fun. I appreciate you downing tea that you don't normally drink.
Oh, no, it's good. It's good. I have a few more tea bags. You gave me more, so.
Really, they were for your son.
I know. He'll hit them up. Don't worry.
Good. All right. So I'll send you this recording afterward. Thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate all the questions. This is a popular one. So thank you for your time, Jimmy.
Good. Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
Tell Tony I said hello.
Tony, Jimmy said hi and goodbye.
Hey, goodbye. Miss you.
Take care, man. Miss you too, bro.
All right. Thanks.